Hi, I'm Kristen, and today is the wrap-up show and tell Scrap Blocks Quilt Along video. So I've finished quilting my 2 quilts, hurrah! And I've got photos from a whole bunch of you of your quilt tops. Some of you still blocks, which is cool. And we're just gonna have a look and see what everybody did with it. So thank you to everyone who's been taking part. And if you're still with me, this is like the 9th video. It was supposed to be 8. 9th is just like a wrap up. But anyway, if you're still with me after this long, whether you've been just watching along or you've been sewing along every step, thank you so much. I've had lots of fun, but I'm ready to move on to some other projects. So let's have a look at how the quilts turned out. Here's my rainbow sampler version. So I kind of made a meal out of quilting this one. I had first thought I was just gonna do like some straight lines or a rainbow plaid or something. And then when I got to starting, I just went a bit mad. So I think you call this custom, do you? When it's like different quilting in different areas, basically. A lot of it was just going around areas like the different colors in the heart and stuff like that. And also in the rectangles and squares and the crumb blocks, I just kind of outlined, not even that, that precisely. And then in other areas, I did use some rulers and things, and I was changing threads all the time for every color. So I used white for the background, and I used whatever color I was quilting in for the block I was doing. So it took me a while. And by the end, I was kind of regretting my choice. I do like how it looks on the front, but I'm going to show you the back in a minute. I had a few tension issues. And yeah, so I'm chalking it up to learning. I'm not upset about it, but there are some things I would have done differently if I'd done it again. So that's why I'm just showing you kind of sped up. This isn't a quilting tutorial. If you want that, find an expert in that. You guys, I'm still new on the Moxie, so I'm just kind of giving you some inspiration, I guess. There'll be better quilters out there that you can get all the tips from. Also, I'm going to show you more in the navy and pink one as well. I'm still struggling with how not to stretch my quilts on the Moxie. But anyway, that's a totally different story and probably a totally different video. So the fabric for the backing was various remnants that I bought from a quilt shop online that said they were damaged. So there were some like white marks. It's really hard to see. I can't see them, but I guess I could see a few imperfections in the fabrics. But anyway, there was enough to make a backing, binding. The binding was kind of cut from the leftover backing once I cut the quilt off the long arm. And then I have a bit left over for some other bindings. Anyway, the backing of this, I think, is kind of a hot mess, to be honest. Not the piecing so much as the quilting. I had some serious tension issues on this quilt. Let me show you some of these moments. And some of them got picked out and some of them just didn't. You can see some eyelashing there. I was changing thread colors a lot. In hindsight, I would have probably used a lighter color in the back, something like a light yellow or a light pink instead of this quite bright blue that I used. I did at one point consider putting in a whole different back on top of it before I bound it and like sort of quilting it strategically so it stayed in place, almost like a quilt as you go. But then I decided that was a step too far, and this is probably going to end up on the bed of one of my children who just love rainbows and things. So I decided not to do that. However, if I had ended up in this position and I was planning on gifting it, what I would probably do is either, put in a whole other backing on, and then like I could have quilted along the sort of rows or sections in the quilt to sort of attach it on. Or the other thing I was thinking is I could put like hand sew, it would take a while, hand sew a patch over the bit that and I could put words on it, or obviously I'm going to have a label somewhere on here, or just shapes even, or I could have cut out, make it reversible almost. I could have cut out sort of fussy cut little rainbow motifs or different things from different colors just to cover these moments in the back that are I think they look messy to anyone, but plenty of people would say only a quilter is going to notice this, right? But so I could have cut like a shape and then hand applicate it on here just to cover the bits where I'm like, I don't like that. So I could maybe, you know, if I'm bored one day or one of the kids complains about it, I'll do that, but it's unlikely. Anyway, so that's, yeah, that's my issue with the back. I was quite pleased to remember that I had these remnants sitting around for the backing. I think they suit the front, but yeah, I would have changed the thread color and stuff like that. So before I move on and show you my other navy and pink quilt along quilt and everybody else's as well, it is Pride Month, and so I want to take a moment to dedicate this quilt to my dad, Carl Miller. He died of cancer in 2015 before I started quilting. He was a proud gay man. He was a gay rights activist at his workplace in Toronto at Bell Canada, and he also worked with gay fathers and helped support them. And he was just a really great dad and a really great man. And I would have probably made him a pride quilt at some point if he was still alive. And I think he would have just loved to see all of this. So I just wanted to take a moment to just dedicate this to him. So this is the navy and pink version. So the row quilt layout, if you did that one, I quilted this one second. And at that point, I just wanted to get them done. So this one was sort of some straight lines. Again, I did it on the Moxie, but I just used the channel locks, and it's just some fairly evenly spaced straight lines, not always. And I did have issues with sort of advancing the quilt and keeping it straight. I think I need to work on maybe squaring up my backings. There might be other things I can do that would help me with the stretch and some of the issues I'm having there. And this is my scrappy backing, or I think some people call it an after quilt, with some leftover blocks and experiments that didn't quite work out. So these two were sort of prototypes of the scrap burst blocks, but I got the, what do you call them? The rays, I guess, of the burst too close together in the middle. So it was just too bulky. So I had to go back and redraw the block a few times before you guys got it. And basically, in order to not waste those blocks, I cut the center out. So there's a great big gaping hole in the middle of both of those, and then just applicate a shape, a star here, and a kind of circle-y oval thing on top of there, just so that I could still use the blocks. But like, if I'd used them the way that I pieced them, it would have been like a great big lump here of seams meeting in the middle. So you'll be glad I didn't give you that version. Anyway. And then this piece of piece of pink fabric, obviously good for backing, except there's a big gaping hole in it. So this is where my quilt label's gonna go, to cover that hole. Anyway, so that is the scrappy back of the pink and navy version. So I think we've probably had enough looking at my versions of the quilts. So now I'm going to put up a little run through of the photos you guys have sent in. So hopefully what I'm showing you now is photos that weren't in the YouTube shorts before. So there are other people's progress shots in shorter YouTube shorts videos that I've got on my channel as well. Some of these might be repeated. Some of them might have got left out. Apologies if I left yours out. Let me know and I'll put it somewhere else, like Instagram or somewhere else. I'm not always the greatest at email admin, but I do my best. But I just love all the different colors and the ways that people have used the blocks and just made it their own. And I think all of these look great, and you all did such an amazing job. And I'm so happy with how many of you chose to share with me. So I hope you enjoyed this video and the quilt along. Thank you so much again for those of you who've been along on this journey with me and sewing along, or even those of you who've been watching and just cheering on from the sidelines. Thank you. I hope you enjoy your quilts whenever you get them finished and there is no pressure. Or if you use the blocks for something else, that would also be totally cool. So anyway, I hope you have enjoyed taking part. If you're not already subscribed, please do subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and leave me a comment. Let me know what you thought. I do like to hear from you, and I do try to respond to everybody as much as I can. So thanks so much for spending time with me, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye.